Welcome to GoSimcha, the podcast that takes you on an in-depth approach to the Jewish music, entertainment, and Simcha world. Now, here's your host, Zeesha Littman. Welcome back to Beyond the Simcha, the podcast that takes you beyond the event, behind the scenes of the event industry, where we sit down with different vendors to talk about who they are, what they're all about, learn their stories, and see how you can make the most out of your Simcha. Today, we have the tremendous salute of sitting down with a world-renowned party planner who happens to be based in Israel. So, Baruch Hashem, it's on my time and hers as well. She is known for doing wonderful, wonderful parties. If you've seen some of her videos on GoSimcha and some of her work on social media, she is really, really good at what she does. So we have the pleasure of sitting down with Adena Mark from A-Z Events Israel to talk to her about the event industry. And Hi, Adena, and how it works in Israel and
Hi,
beyond.
thank you for that beautiful, what a nice introduction. Thank you.
My pleasure. B'simcha. So, Adena, how did you get into, what's your story? What's your deal?
Oh, what's my deal? Okay, so I'm originally from Woodmere in Long Island, New York. I made Aliyah in 2004. And with 5 children.
Wow.
And a husband. Shortly afterwards, and let's fast forward a few years later, and I was divorced children, and I needed to, make a parnasa and use my talent to do something amazing. And I was getting a lot of calls from, let's call it, back at home. I was always getting a lot of requests asking, do you know a florist, and do you know a band, and do you know this, and do you know that? And I saw that there was something out there, and I saw that it was a way for me to help people and make beautiful events, bring people to Israel, show them the beauty of Israel, and do what I wanted to do and could do best. So that's how I got started, and it's turned into Baruch Hashem. It's really turned into my calling. I feel like it's my calling. I work with amazing and beautiful brides and grooms and their parents, and I work with bar mitzvah boys and bat mitzvah girls and all the special people who want to come to Israel for their event.
That's amazing. So you took something and you just went with it. You took something that's dumb, like people were calling you and asking for advice, and you took it and you made a whole business out of it. That's really amazing. Now, were you doing
Absolutely.
this? Were you doing this back in Five Towns as well? You were officially a party planner back in Five Towns, or you just kind of like knew people and knew how to set things up?
No, actually no. Right. So actually when I lived in towns, my then husband and I had an interior design firm. We did very high-end interior design, commercial and residential. That gave me a lot of insight and experience in doing customer service and working with clients and how to really give them what they're looking for, their high expectations of what they were looking for. That really at the stage. At the same time, I was very involved with my local shul and my kids' school, and I ran a lot of the social activities, whether it was women's luncheons or the dinners. And so that gave me a little bit of experience. And then coming here, just really melding into Israeli society, taking my experience from way back then and my background and my talents, and just putting it all together, I'm able to really work with the Israeli side, the events. I know how to talk to them and work with their style, and also connect them with the overseas clients. Some are from all over the United States and from Europe, Australia, South America, but really how to meld their expectations, where they're coming from. It's not the same mindset. It's not the same culture. There are a lot of differences in ways of thinking and in ways of doing business. And so I take both of, my one part of me from way back home and the other part of me from living here, and I put them both together and really make the connection for my clients so that they're so happy and their event is everything that they dreamed of.
That's awesome. Now, do you predominantly deal with people who are coming from the States who want to make simchas here in Israel, or you deal with a lot of Israelis? Like, what's your market?
Yeah, the majority of my clients are coming from overseas. A lot of all over the United States, West Coast, East Coast, and in between. And also I have clients from Germany, Belgium, London, Italy. I've had clients from Australia and from South America, so all over the globe. That's my main clientele. In the past few years, it's been spreading out, let's just say, to Anglos who are living in Israel. So, there are Anglo communities in Israel. People, again, they come from all over. I have clients living in Israel from Belgium and from the U.S., and they still, they said, like, they're living here. It doesn't mean that their expectation or their cultural mindset has completely become Israeli. And so they are looking for an event planner that can give them that touch. And so I do have a handful, more and more and more of those type of clients.
Right. No, because like I find that with the Israelis, even the Anglos here in Israel, they're not like if they're not so privy to spend money on something like this, even if it's going to enhance the simcha, and even if it's going to make their lives easier, they're just not so. They don't find value in it. And the people coming from overseas who are schlepping the entire family out to Israel to make a simcha, they find tremendous value in what you do because you make their lives so much easier, and you give them a great product. And it's the people make events here all the time.
Well, I'll say that it's right. So it's not necessarily the value. I think that what you're saying is true. When you're coming from overseas, having an event planner here on the ground who speaks the language here and knows the culture here and understands what you want, your level of expectation. Right. And listen, let's be honest, the time difference of, trying to make phone calls and get a hold of people during work hours, and the language and not knowing like which days are work days and which days are holidays, that's a really daunting thing. And so for the clients that are coming from overseas, it's a value in terms of having an event planner, but it's also the value of having someone there that's like on the ground. For my clients that are living here in Israel, the value is more like it's a cultural connection. They're saying to themselves, we live in Israel, but we've never made a wedding before. So I want someone who's going to, even though we live in Israel, our family still lives back home, and we want to bring them here, and we want to host a wedding that, lives up to our expectations as an American or as a European or wherever they're coming from. So, and that's more of the value for them, as opposed to like being on the ground. It's more like making the connection that they're not necessarily able to make on their own.
Right. No, 100%. Now, what's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to you in this industry? You have any stories you want to share, like behind the scenes?
So everyone always asks that question. Everybody always wants to know like the drama behind the scenes. So there's always lots of drama. And there's good and bad. I have a few stories. I mean, I have a story of sad story, unfortunately, where the father of the group passed away literally 2 days before the wedding, and the wedding went on. He asked his rabbi and whatever, not to get into all the details, but the way that the story went, they got married, and immediately from the wedding, they flew back to the United States for that. That was a crazy story and a lot of drama. Another story is when, during the last war that we had here in Israel, during Protective Edge, Tzuk Eitan, and we had, families coming for their bar mitzvahs, and we had families who were planning weddings and all their guests coming in, and it was a lot of like sitting on the edge of what's going to be and what's going to happen and how's it going to play out. And that was all happy endings. Really all of my clients from during that period were very determined. Like, I had one mother of the bar mitzvah boy say, I don't care if they don't come, I'm standing at the kotel with my son. Like, I'm good. He's having his bar mitzvah in Israel no matter what. And she was just so determined. It was very beautiful. And of course, everybody came. It was really a happy ending. But there's the drama of till you get to that point. Right. And, there's also family dramas. What could I tell you? There's, we have divorces. I work with a lot of clients who they don't always get along on all sides of the family, or there's divorce, or there's I had like a few situations where the bride or the groom were converts. They converted to Judaism, and so they had like a whole section of their family that wasn't even Jewish, and lots of dramas of dealing with things that they just didn't know about, and we had to explain a lot of things to them. Bottom line, at the end of the day, to tell you that like I always see the beauty in human nature, because with all these dramas, whether it's war or death or divorce or family issues, everyone steps up to the plate. Everyone really wants the simcha to be beautiful. They do. They want it to be beautiful. And there might be some drama and there might be a little, wavy waters along the way, choppy waters along the way. But at the end, it always turns out to be beautiful, happy ending. So I see the beauty of human nature in that sense.
Baruch Hashem. Now, when people are coming to look for an event planner in Israel, what do they find unique about you that makes them choose you over other people? Because there's plenty of people who do what you do, but not everybody can be A to Z. So what makes you so unique in regards to the craft that you do?
Okay, so I think it's so true what you're saying, and that there really are a lot of talented event planners here in Israel who cater to the clientele from overseas, just as I do. A lot of them are colleagues of mine and friends of mine, and I think that there's someone for everyone. I think you have to find the right match. I think that what's unique and what people will find most helpful about me, we're all very talented, all of us event planners. We all can, pick up beautiful flowers and find you the right band. I think what we do. I think that what's unique about me is the human touch of like understanding family dynamics and, melding cultures. Like I said, I've worked with a lot of families of like different cultural backgrounds, religious backgrounds, family dynamics and issues where, I'm also a mom, I'm also a mother-in-law, I'm also in my personal life, I've had experiences and my knowledge that I guide people through this process, because it's really not just about choosing the flowers and choosing a band, choosing a photographer. That's a big part of it. Sticking to the budget and finding all the right elements is so important, but dealing with the human part of it and talking to the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law and the mom and the brother and the sister and everyone's issues. It's an emotional time in everyone's lives. Weddings and bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. It's emotional and it's monumental. And the fact that they're coming from overseas has a lot of effect on everyone's emotions. Also, it's daunting and it's sometimes even a little bit scary. So I'm really emotionally and just emotionally there for them and walking them through it and holding their hands every step of the way. And I think people really find that very, very helpful and important in their planning process with me.
That's amazing. I mean, you have to, that's part of it. Is it like, I was out yesterday in the old city. I was actually meeting with somebody and we were talking, I was asking them like, what makes you, they're a venue in the old city. And I asked them, I said, what makes you so special? And they said, it's the personal touch that they give to every person who books an event with them, every person who comes to use their space. And they're very hands-on. They're very like into it and very holistic about it. And as I said 90% of the sale is you. And so if you give that human touch, if you give that personal touch and you give show that emotional connection you have with them, it will really enhance the simcha 10 times more, because people are coming from overseas. Their heads are all over the place. They don't know which way is up. The wedding, the bar mitzvahs in 2 days. Right. Everyone's got to schlep on the bus and this, that, and everyone wants to go do this, that, and the other. And, if you keep the cool, if you keep the shalom, then then everybody's happy. And then they walk away saying, wow, what a simcha.
It's true. I always say, I always say like the mother of the bride who's, traveling from overseas with all of like the gowns, right, and the shoes and everything that she's bringing with her. Like the last thing that she wants to do is have to like turn on her phone and see when she gets off the plane and see like what is from like, the band and the caterer and everyone asking her a million questions. Like she just wants to be the mother of the bride and be there for her daughter emotionally and take care of those, those things that she should do. And so I love that I can do that for people. I love that I can let them enjoy and feel like they're a guest and feel like they put in a few months or a few weeks of really hard work and making decisions and factoring the budget and things like that. And then that's it, then we're done. And the rest is up to me and you can really enjoy yourself. And of course, making their event theirs. Like I said, we want to make it full as they're used to. We want them to see that when you come to Israel, you're not compromising. You're not going to have less beautiful flowers. You're not going to have less tasty food. You're not going to have less than excellent service. And that's really important to me. It's like my, hasbara, as they say, of Israel, giving people the most beautiful view of Israel and of Israelis and of, everything that we do here. I want them to love it. I want them to love it and be happy and to come back again.
That's amazing. Now, you said that you're a mother-in-law. Did you plan that wedding as well?
For who?
You mentioned that you're a mother-in-law, that you have married kids. Did you plan those weddings?
Yeah, for my daughter, of course. I did. Actually, I gave her the choice. And I said to her, you could decide that you want someone else. I'm not going to push myself on you. But, definitely you deserve an event planner like every other bride. I believe every bride deserves an event planner to make her day special. So if you want, I'll do it. And if you want someone else, that's okay too. And she was like, Mom, nobody needs you. So I want you. And yes, I did. Of course, I did everything she wanted, everything they wanted. And it was very, very, very special. It was one of my most special events. I planned my own wedding also. So It was great. Yeah.
That's amazing. I was about to say, how'd that work out? That you're dealing with everything on the back end, and then you have to go walk down the football.
I'll tell you, yeah. So I did it. I think I did it the smart way. What I did was I did all the planning and the selections and everything was done. Meaning we picked the design, we picked the flowers, we picked the band and did everything. And then it was all ready to go, nice and packaged. And I asked a colleague and a friend of mine, a fellow event planner, to be there for the rest of it. I said to her, here, I picked everything, I chose everything, it's all ready to go. Now I need to be the mother of the bride. And I have, altogether I have 5 daughters. So I need to be the mother of the bride and the mother of all the other girls who are getting, hair and makeup done, and they need me. And you do the rest. And she did. And she took over and she made sure that everything that I arranged and everything that I put together happened and went smoothly and flawlessly. So I was able to stand at the end of the aisle with my daughter about to walk down to the chuppah and knowing that somebody was making sure that things were running smoothly.
That's amazing. Would you say that predominantly more people make bar and bat mitzvahs here than weddings, or is it kind of like chetzi chetzi? Like what's the percentage of weddings? What?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the real percentages. I imagine that there is more bar and bat mitzvahs just because it's a little bit easier, right? Like you can come with like your own family and maybe grandma and grandpa, and maybe, it doesn't have to be like the whole, doesn't have to be the whole 200 normally invite to a bar mitzvah to come to Israel, to stand at the kotel, to have that really special event. And it's just been such a time-long, years-long, decades-long tradition of coming to Israel for bar and bat mitzvah. The whole idea of coming to Israel for a wedding, like a destination wedding, so to speak, I think that's rather newer. And it's becoming so popular and so trendy, and people are seeing the benefits of it from so many different reasons. But, we have so many more like kids making aliyah on their own.
Right.
And then, they're coming here and making their own life here. So they're getting married here. And then you have destination weddings are big. So I guess it's probably more bar and bat mitzvahs, but me personally, as in my business, it's half and half. I do both. Yeah.
Would you say that the cost of making a wedding in Israel is significantly less than doing it in the States?
It's $1 million question that everybody wants to know. I think that you can save money by having the wedding in Israel. I think in general, destination weddings are money saver because right away you're having less people. If you're having the wedding, back home, let's say in your backyard where, everyone's inviting 400 or 500 people. Here you're sort of like filtering out the ones that are going to actually, buy a ticket to get on a plane and come. So right off the bat, you're probably having a more intimate wedding with less people. On the other hand, you're paying for hotels and airfare. I think that you're able to get a more cost-effective wedding in Israel, from what I understand. I do.
Huh. That's very interesting. Now, what piece of advice would you give over to our listeners and to people using GoSimcha when looking for vendors for an event, whether it be in Israel, whether it be in America or England, wherever? What advice from your brain would you give over to our listeners and potential people in the process of making a simcha?
I'll tell you something. I think that an educated consumer is the best. I think that do your research, spend a little time on social media, ask people, get their stories of their experiences and how it went for them and their feedback, and know what you want, like as best as you can. I know it sounds so easy to say because a lot of people just don't know what they want.
Right.
Literally don't know what they want. All they know is they call me sometimes and they say like bar mitzvah in Israel. Now what?
Right.
Like I don't know how much it's supposed to cost and I don't know how we're supposed to do it and I don't know anything about it. So it's easier said than done. But I think being knowledgeable is the best advice. Like just research and ask around and get recommendations and get feedback and and work with people that you know that you could trust.
Transparency is the key, and this is one of the many reasons why we stress with our vendors on GoSimcha that the more information you give us about yourself, the easier it is for people to have a better understanding of who you are and what you're all about. And exactly what you said, an educated consumer is the best consumer, and we've even put that front and center on our website to give people more to stop people before they start looking. Do you know what you're looking for? Do you know what you want? And start asking around, because people are the best sources of information. And I think, kol hakavod, you came here, you did this, and you were able to bring simcha and bring joy to so many people every single time you put on an event. And it's truly amazing. And, I'm so happy that I got to get you on the show. So people get a little bit more insight into the event world, and especially the event world in Israel, because there is a bit of a difference. Israelis are much culturally, they're much, much different than the American counterparts. But it's good to get some insight, get some knowledge of what's going on over there. And you're Baruch Hashem, you're very successful at what you do, and people like you, and people love using your service, and you should continue to have tremendous hatzlacha in what you're doing, and we should only keep hearing more simcha.
Well, thank you so much, Baruch Hashem. I really do really, really feel like I'm able to, like I said, bring simcha to people's lives. It's really a zechut. At all of my weddings, I have a zechut that I always get a bracha from the chatan and the kala. I'm zocha to get a lot of brachot, like, because this is what I do, and I really do appreciate it. And I love that I can bring people to the beauty of Israel. So really, thank you so very much for having me.
Baruch Hashem. It's a pleasure. Adena, I wish you the best of luck. You should only continue to give people simcha. You should continue to do what you do best, and keep making parties, keep making weddings, keep making bar mitzvahs until Mashiach comes. Mir Hashem.
Amen.
And we're already here. We're already front and center.
Amen.
So, Zrat Hashem. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You've just listened to another wonderful episode of GoSimcha the podcast.
Thank you so
For more
much.
news, updates, and information on our next episode, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at GoSimcha Live, and don't forget to check out the show notes and videos on www.gosimcha.com along with zeradio.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, Go Simcha!